Trust me when I say this, I've had a lot of bad days recently. I can't sleep, I'm rolling around in bed, lying awake all night, and when I think I've just got a little bit of sleep, I have to wake up. I instantly reach for my phone to scroll on social media, and this feeling of dread overwhelms me. I try everything that I can to avoid the reality of feeling uninspired, feeling stressed, and feeling stuck in my life. And with the little amount of energy that I have left, I roll out of bed to try and tackle the day ahead so I can make something out of my life. For me, these bad days have actually turned into a few bad months, but I don't want these bad months to be turning into a bad year or a bad few years. I want to be able to break the cycle, and this is what I've learned on my journey so far. Because trying to run a business is quite hard in itself, but running a business whilst you have mental health issues, that's even harder, and it's definitely a challenge. Every day feels like a battle, even the little things like remembering to eat, going out to socialize with friends, or even finding the positive energy to do my job as a voice coach. Everything that I'm doing now seems to be taking a lot more energy than it did before, and I know the lack of sleep that I have isn't giving me the energy that I need because my body doesn't feel rested, it doesn't fully feel like it's recharged. So every night I say to myself, I'm going to sleep early, I'm going to get a decent amount of sleep, and then I stay awake. I go through all of the emotions again, I wake up and then I feel groggy and tired the next day, and it repeats itself day in, day out. But what if I told you that I'm already in the process of changing all of this? I'm working out all of the answers, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you what I know so far, and the answers that I found are more simpler than I thought. Hi, my name is Emily, and in today's video I'll be sharing how to get out of the negative cycle of bad days and turn these bad days into something more positive. Whether you're having a hard time sleeping or trying to manage your mental health like me, I'll be sharing what I know so far. And if you're on this journey as well, this video will really help you reframe your negative thoughts in life so that you can feel good about yourself and tackle the most daunting tasks. Everybody has had a bad day, and on these bad days we feel like giving up. So you might wake up, you're late for work, you spill your drink all down yourself, so not only you're late, you look awful as well. You might get an annoying email, and before you know it, you're writing off the whole day because your brain's thinking,
great, I've had so many things that are bad today and I'm just going to give up.
And when we tell ourselves this story about all of these bad things creating our bad day, we are telling ourselves that it is true, it's a known fact. But it's not true. It's only true if you keep telling yourself these negative stories. The more you tell these negative stories to your brain, the more your brain will believe them. What we think, we believe. So thinking about spilling your drink down yourself, yes, it's annoying, but it's not a fact that spilling a drink down yourself is going to ruin your entire day. When you wake up feeling tired, it doesn't mean that your whole day is going to be unproductive. And if you get criticism at work, it doesn't mean that you are bad at your job. None of these things are facts. It's just that our thoughts have a huge impact on how we feel. But we can change our mindset just by asking ourselves this question: what if? Instead of saying phrases like, I'm having a bad day, ask yourself, what if today is a positive day? What changes can I make to make this day as positive as possible? Instead of saying, I can't be productive today because I'm too tired, ask yourself, what if I just do one small thing and see how I feel? By asking the what if questions, you're training your brain to think in a different way. The way we think about these little moments determines whether our thoughts control us or whether we control our thoughts. If you tell yourself that your day is going to be terrible, then your brain is going to look for the evidence that's going to prove you right. But if you stop the thought, then you are able to change how the rest of your day goes. For me, when one bad thing happens, I try to shake it off as quickly as possible. But when two bad things happen, I look for the third thing. Once I've found all three things, I can draw a line underneath that day and say, I've had enough. I'm not going to let anything else ruin my day. I then can go about resetting my day by saying some positive affirmations, looking for something that's positive. That might be smiling when the sun's out, or going for a walk, or making myself a hot chocolate. Most of the time, when we feel stuck in our bad days, bad weeks, bad months, or even bad years, we are on autopilot, and without realizing it, we have been repeating the same thoughts, the same actions, and the same habits every single day. How often do you wake up and check your phone without realizing?
Me.
How often do you order a takeaway when you're feeling stressed?
Me.
And how often do you let the negative thoughts spiral out of control until you have an emotional meltdown?
Me.
These patterns don't happen by accident. They happen because your brain loves efficiency. Your brain loves patterns. If it can create a shortcut, an automatic response that requires no extra thinking or energy, it will. And over time, these shortcuts will turn into habits. If your default response to stress is avoidance, zoning out, doom scrolling on social media, or numbing yourself with watching TV or binge eating, your brain will naturally lead you there. When you're stuck in these loops, you stop making conscious choices about your life. You stop actively deciding about how you're going to spend your time, where you're focusing your energy, or what is making you happy. Instead, you're just reacting to whatever comes your way. When you're constantly reacting, you're not creating anything new, you're not growing, you're not changing, and you're not moving forward. And this is how suddenly people wake up one day and realize that they're unfulfilled. Not because their life fell apart dramatically overnight, but they were stuck in these routines that constantly kept them small, feeling drained and feeling uninspired. Autopilot makes you feel like you have no control, like life is just happening to you. But breaking out of autopilot doesn't mean that you have to change your entire life overnight. It just means waking up to the fact that you're not stuck. You remind your brain and you say to yourself, I have a choice, I can change, and I can create something new every day. So let's dive deep into making better decisions and finding some practical ways to shift our bad day and turn it into a good day. Getting off autopilot is really changing your normal routines, thinking about stopping your routines and making it a little bit more spontaneous. The goal isn't to flip your life around and become unrecognizable. For example, if you're a house hermit like me, then I don't expect you to go clubbing every single night or to completely pack your bags and then move to a different country. These are small steps we can do to make change on a daily basis. I talked about taking small steps in my previous video, but when I mean taking small steps, it might just be something little, like if you sleep on the left side of the bed, try sleeping on the right hand side of the bed. If you brush your teeth with your right hand, change it up a little bit and brush your teeth with your left hand. If you go to work via the same route every day, think about using a different route, taking a different route to see different things, because your brain loves a challenge. You're giving your brain new information, and now all of a sudden your 5 senses have come to life. If you work from home most days, find some time to get out of the house, even on those dark, cold days where everything is miserable. If you find yourself sitting at home, feeling sluggish and unmotivated, just change your surroundings. It might be going to things like a coffee shop, taking yourself out on a walk, or even changing what room you sit in, like going to the garden or a balcony. A small change in your environment can create a big change in your mindset. The longer you avoid something, the heavier it feels. It's emotionally draining when you know you've got something to do and you feel guilty for not doing it, and it completely overwhelms you, so then you procrastinate. Instead of tackling everything at once, pick one easy thing and do it. It could be watering your plants, putting your clothes away, or taking 5 minutes just to breathe. These easy wins build momentum. If you have one big task, break it down into smaller tasks. For example, when you think about tidying up your whole house, you want to be able to just tidy up one room first. Break it down into something that's easy to do. So you might want to just pick up one item from the floor in one room and then try and put it into a game. See how many items you can pick up from the floor in the same room. And once you've done that room, once you've cleaned that room, you can then move on to a different room and then set up the same easy game for yourself. That way you are able to build up that momentum, you're on a roll, and before you know it, you've completed tidying up that whole house that you've been dreading to do in the first place. For me, I'm still finding this a little bit of a tricky one, and I'm still getting to grips with it, because I know for a fact that if there's nothing in my calendar, there's nowhere for me to go, no friends to hang out with, I would just happily sit on the sofa all day watching Netflix. But I realised going about my day, I also go through lots of different emotions, whether that's positive or negative emotions. And all these emotions are just stored in my body. There is no way to release these emotions. And this is why I get a lot of tension in my shoulders, my back is really stiff, my body is aching. There is just no way for these emotions to be released. So I try to move my body as much as I can, even if it's just for 10 minutes. So just by standing up and stretching, or if I have a little bit more time, do more yoga, thinking about vacuuming the house, thinking about taking the bins out, anything that gets my body a little bit more active other than just sitting in a chair or on the sofa. It might sound silly, but trust me, it works. And if you have more time, or if you want to do more exercise to move your body, you can always do an intense workout at the gym, or find some hobbies that you can really release this energy. For me, I'm still looking for that sport where I can channel all my energy, release tension, and still feel really good afterwards. So if you have any recommendations, please put it in the comments below. One of the worst things of having a bad day is having no one to talk to, and you're feeling alone and you're suffering in silence. Talking to someone, whether it's a friend or a therapist, or even voicing your thoughts out loud like I am in this video, really helps you process your emotions. In fact, I've been seeing my therapist since October 2023, and I actually love it because I have one designated person that I can rant at, and it's a really safe place where I can dump all of my negative energy and stresses that I've had throughout the week. I really find it useful because just talking about something really releases something from my mind and my body, and I love talking anyway. This is something that I started to do recently because for me, I'm quite forgetful. So to be able to write things down, I can track how I feel emotionally and see why I've had a bad day. When I think about writing everything out, I am then able to think about what I can do to make the next day better. I normally write these things down in my notebook, in my journal, or on my phone. There's not really one designated space to write all of these things in, but I find it really helps me because then I can identify if there's a pattern. So I know if I'm having a bad day, it might be because I've not had enough sleep, or I'm not eating very well, or it might be that I'm just really tired because I'm doom scrolling on social media all the time. And when I've written everything down, I can then see why I've had low levels of energy. Is it because what I am doing to myself, so not eating enough or not sleeping enough? Or is it certain people, certain situations that are draining my energy? Because once I know the why behind my bad day, I can then start making small changes to prevent the same things from happening again. One of the best ways to feel like you're in control of your life is to carry on learning. The more we know and the more we understand, the less overwhelming everything feels. You start to realize that nothing is permanent and there is always a way to improve your situation. If you're struggling with stress, research more into how to deal with stress. If you're dealing with anxiety, read about how anxiety functions in your brain. The more you read about generally, the more you can pinpoint the specific anxieties that you have. If you feel stuck with public speaking, watch my videos so you can speak with more confidence. You don't have to, but if you're curious to learn more about it, then I've created a playlist with all of my public speaking videos right here. Sometimes the best advice doesn't come from a friend or a therapist. It can actually come from anywhere. It might be that you're reading a book, watching a YouTube channel, listening to a podcast. There are many different resources that are free nowadays. So if you really want to find the answer, you can go out and look for it. One of the books that I'm currently reading is this one, Why Has Nobody Told Me About This Before by Dr. Julie Smith. I highly recommend this book because if you suffer from any of these, then it gives you practical tips and exercises that you can do to actually change your life. I'll leave the link in the description below and you can check it out as well. Rest isn't just about getting more sleep. There are lots of different types of rest. You can rest your mind, your body, and your emotions. And resting is really giving everything the reset that you need. There is physical rest. This is where your body doesn't do much at all and it really allows your muscles to relax. So this can be sleeping or napping, doing some light stretches or taking a warm bath or having a massage. There's mental rest. This could be doing something creative like painting, listening to music, or even staring out of the window with no distractions. There is also emotional rest, which really allows you to feel and express your emotions. And you can do this by meditation, yoga, or talking to someone that you trust. And there's social rest. Social rest means that you're not socializing with anyone. You are happy spending time in solitude. You aren't talking to anybody and you're spending time alone. You don't need a massive life-changing epiphany to turn your bad day around. You just need those little small wins. You got out of bed on time, win. You drank more water than coffee, win. You took 5 deep breaths instead of panicking and having an emotional breakdown, win. When you start celebrating all the victories on your small wins, then your brain is starting to shift its focus. It's changing its mindset. Instead of focusing on what is going wrong, your brain is now focusing on the positive things of what is going right. And when you stack up all of these small wins, you then notice that it starts to snowball into one big, giant positive energy. And before you know it, you realize that you're not having a bad day after all. So by making this video, I'm holding myself accountable and I'm telling myself that yes, I am in control of my life. This is also a reminder to myself to do all of these things as well. And when 1 year passes, 5 year passes, or 10 year passes, then I can look back and say, gosh, those times were really tough, but I'm really proud of what I have achieved. Everyone has bad days, but don't let those bad days control you. Start noticing the patterns of your negative thoughts and then really start making a change in your mindset. You can turn things around even when you feel like it might be impossible. And if you're having a bad day, please just reach out to me because I don't want you to suffer in silence alone. I've gone through that and I know what it feels like. There is light at the end of the tunnel because if I'm getting out of this, then so are you. And if you found this video helpful in any way, hit the like and subscribe button and comment down below if you're having a bad day. I'd love to hear from you.